Hi, I'm Brandon Fertig of The Periphery. Following the steep rise in murders in Minneapolis, we began to do live stream discussions addressing the issue.
Here we go, 3, 2, 1.
Along with co-creators Antoine Beeks Sr., founder of Face to Face, and VJ Smith, president of Minneapolis Mad Dads. We called these events Stop the Bleeding. And in this clip, I interviewed Bunny Beeks, whose mother was killed in crossfire, and Ebony Robinson, whose son was murdered in a mistaken identity. I was doing a story in 2017 about the 2016 homicides in Minneapolis. It was the year that Jamar Clark was killed. Mm-hmm. And I remember he was getting news all over the country about his death, but I knew there were other deaths in the community, and I wondered about them. So I went through, and I went from January 1 to December 31 of 2016, and I looked up everyone who passed away in Minneapolis, and then I started talking to their families. And then you two were two of the family members I talked to. Mm-hmm. So we'll go one at a time here, but we have Bunny Beeks and Ebony Robinson. Bunny, you want to just introduce yourself and tell your story about how you got involved in activism?
Yeah, so I'm Bunny Beeks. I am the daughter of Burdell Beeks, who was murdered on May 26, 2016 in North Minneapolis, and I am the founder of Be the Voice Minneapolis. And our main goal is, like everyone else and so many of the other organizations that are out here, and that's to stop the violence, stop the bleeding. One of our main focuses will be to have support groups for families and friends who have lost loved ones to homicide, and to just be that support in between the time of the shooting and being able to advocate for them when it comes to investigators. All of that is very traumatic to go through, especially when you're supposed to be in that grieving time.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get information from investigators on your case. And it's understandable that they can't provide you with all the information, but there's a way for them to say your case is still active and things without giving you the information that will harm your case.
I suppose it goes without saying that that's a part of policing you would like to see reformed too. Mm-hmm. The investigative process,
yes.
the ability for them to share information with family, that kind of thing.
Yes, and we had awesome investigators on my mom's case.
Hers was pretty high profile.
Yeah.
Can you tell quickly, just go over what happened with your mother?
My mother was driving down the street with my then 16-year-old daughter in the car. She was just simply waiting at a stop sign. Something, we all drive. We all could be sitting at that stop sign and be her. An individual came out of his house to shoot at a rival gang member going down the street, and his bullet hit my mom in the arm, and the bullet traveled to her heart and ultimately killed her.
And I just want to add that Bunny became her own private investigator. She became her own marketing machine. She did everything. When her life changed. I watched her I didn't even know who she was. I didn't even know she was related to Officer Beeks. I didn't even know. But once she got out there, everybody knew who Bunny was. Everybody.
Since then, have you... I assume you've now helped people who've gone through this similar situation?
I have. And that's another part of what my organization will do, is to be able to do that. Little King, I help with Lachey and helping his mom to get the justice and to push on the investigators. King was shortly after my mom.
Oh, that was, he was in
a van.
Was he the 2-year-old boy?
Yes.
Today is the anniversary.
Is it? I didn't even realize
I met his
that.
mother at one of those vigils. I remember that.
Released today at 1 noon.
And actually, that's my kids' family on their dad's side, the 2-year-old.
See? And in some way, there's always so much intertwined that you just never know.
Your mom's case was solved, yes?
It was solved. One person is doing life without the possibility of parole. Yes. That's a blessing. However, another thing that these people need to realize is stop allowing these people to come in. I get that. Do your job first. Do your job. But when you allow these people to come in and give you information to get time off, that hurts the family. That hurts the family. I did not agree. The guy that set the whole thing in motion came and he gave his testimony against the person that actually pulled the trigger, and he has been out already over a year. my mom would still be alive had he not have set that in motion. So to give somebody like that a plea deal is unacceptable.
Your son's
Totally
case
innocent.
wasn't solved, right?
We're still fighting for justice for Andre Riley Jr. He was killed July 3rd, so his 4th year anniversary was last Friday. We're still fighting for justice. We would like for anybody to come forth that knows anything to help solve this. Not only was my son murdered, but my niece was murdered 4 days before him on June 29th, 2016. And my nephew was murdered August 14th, 2010. So, but yes, he was at an after set. Some people came up to him and harmed him and killed him. And when they ran off, they said that was the wrong guy, which was too late by then because he was dead. July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July, was the worst day of my life. You never want to sign your child's death certificate ever. It's the worst day. And like she said, physically you're there, but mentally you're not. That's why I want to start a nonprofit on getting help for families going through the process, because everyone that I dealt with was rude, uncompassionate, no empathy, no sympathy. Just the Reverend Griffin, he was the only one that showed any empathy for the situation at all. And I know people, I guess, so used to working in that field that they come numb, but it's not good for the family that has not been through it. So I want to, help families to the avenues to go to ask for funding if you don't have insurance or if you need clothes or, whatever you need to help you through that moment, because like you said, you're there physically. Like they, when my son got cremated, I guess I told them that they could burn his clothes, but I never even thought you burnt the clothes when you cremated the body. So I'm like, I never told you that. I spent a lot of money. I was saving that for my granddaughter, but there again, physically I was there, but mentally I wasn't listening to anything they said. My family was great. VJ been great. Every year I call him for our vigils every year since my son's death due to the coronavirus this year. I didn't feel that it was safe for everyone to come out and do it this year, but we do it for my niece, my nephew, and my son every year. All 3 of their birthdays in July, so it's just a really rough month for our family. So we do the vigil, birthday parties together. I haven't heard from the police officer since my son got killed in 2016.
I was going to ask, where's the status with the case?
Whenever I call, I get a voicemail. It's been changed from different hands. They never return my call, so I don't know. I haven't heard from them since 2016. And they told me I wouldn't hear from them until it's solved.
That's part of the situation too, right? Like even if they have a lead, even if they're onto something,
or
they won't
even
say.
They don't even try to contact me to see if I heard something. Like, did you hear something? Did this come about? Or, is there somebody you think we should investigate or anything? They don't return your call, as well as my sister-in-law. When my nephew got killed in 2010, the police officers that came to the house was like, we're locked together because of this situation. We are family now. We haven't heard from them since 2010.
Has there been any development since I interviewed you about this
No.
a few years ago?
No. I have not heard from him since he got murdered. Since the couple of days afterwards where they come and ask you a couple of questions and this and that, I have not heard from no one.
So the assumption is the killer's still loose unless they did something else and are in jail for another reason.
Yeah, and unless they, which so-called snitch, which it isn't snitching, because if your loved one got killed, you will want their murder solved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You will want their murder solved. And why do you want to keep putting your people through this, whether you know them, your family by blood or anything? By us being in the same race, we have to, the same respect and love we want from another race, we have to start showing to ourselves. We have to start protecting our loved ones. We have to stop all these extra drugs that these people are on, that that they're probably not in their right mind at that time. So we do have to figure out some way to get back to these kids when they're younger, because once they get 16, 17, they're so much in the groove of the things that they're into, it's hard to connect and change them. So we need to get back to, they took away all the stuff that we had growing up in the city. even in the suburbs, they took that away from us, or they made it so expensive. Like if you have more than one child, you can't afford it. Like for my kids, I had 4 kids growing up, and we stayed in Brooklyn Park, and for them to do an activity, it was over $100 for each one of them for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like one time a week. That's like your mortgage, you know? Like, who's going to do that for just 3 weeks? You know?
You said that in our interview a few years ago. I did an interview with Ebony and, I'm sorry, what was
Vania, my daughter-in-law.
Vania and Riley's daughter.
Yeah, Drea.
How is she?
She's 4. She'll be 5.
She's running around?
Yes.
So when I interviewed you, of course, she was like an infant.
Yeah, she was a baby.
People don't understand what gun violence does to a family and how it impacts them. Bunny and Ebony aren't the same people that they were before this happened. Because in the back of their heads, and sometimes you can catch her over at the parking lot where her son got killed, just sitting out there playing music, you know. And I'm sure Bunny's got her rituals too and things that she does, you know. But you can tell when because she'll be like, "Mom, I'm thinking," and you know that they're going through and they're letting the world know. So just people, we need to support these people, you know, because what support was there for you? That's the thing. There wasn't, you know. It's not like when there's a tragedy in the city or in the suburbs, people have these rescue units coming and showing up, and we don't have that. We show up at the scene and we try to help the family, and then we got to go to the next shooting. So we can't stay with them. They got to figure it out. And because I don't have nobody to send with them. I don't have that kind of finances to send somebody with these 2 women. But I had to watch them go through it. I had to watch Bonnie. Sometimes I thought she was going to go crazy. I really did. But what could I do? I'm going to the next shooting. When I see Ebony and I see she's depressed and down, I try to give her a message, uplift her, but she's going through. I don't have any staff to send to her. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of stuff and support we need. We need to do that. That's why they're starting their own stuff.
Yeah.
Because they see there's such a big gap.
Yeah. It sounds like you two actually have a lot in common with the support you want to provide.
Yeah. People don't realize once you become a family of gun violence, and like I said, even little Juju that got killed, the 3-year-old on Christmas, that was my cousin's stepson. So it's like it just keep happening, and you never can really like totally grieve, because before you know it, it's another murder that somebody you know. You're not just killing that person, you're killing a whole family. The biggest one was my auntie. She was kind of ill, but she had my Aunt Lottie, she had heart problems and stuff, and after Dre got killed, it like kind of intensified and moved her, you know, heart failure up, where she ended up passing away not too long after him. My niece, she lost a baby because of the stress. It's hard to watch them continue to live their life, be with their kids. My son is not able to be a dad to his daughter. She's not able to have her father or that protection for her, you know, from her dad. And it was all because he was the wrong person, you said, you know, like
the killer said, "We got the wrong guy."
Yeah,
as they fled the scene.
Yeah, as the people in the community that lived there said, that's what they heard. They said that was the wrong guy, which they have no reason. They don't know him or the other person to say that. You know,
but the killer was wearing a hoodie or something. You said.
Well, it was 4 of them, as far as I know.
Again, we're talking about a couple of situations that have happened in Minneapolis. We know that there's many more that have happened in Minneapolis, but what we fail to realize or kind of address at sometimes, or whatever the case may be, is that a lot of these things that we're seeing in Minneapolis, it reaches to St. Paul, it reaches to Chicago, Illinois, it reaches to Detroit, and a lot of folks got, you know, friends, families, you know, et cetera, that reaches very far, just like these gangs and these cliques and so on and so forth. They have their friends and associates or whatever it is that they want to call them, and they've been known to come in, do what they do, and they bounce right back up out of town, you know. So
it's kind of a network.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not only that, we want our kids to be able to grow up and walk, you know, North Minneapolis, go to different things that North Minneapolis has to offer, you know, without getting harmed. We don't want to have to worry about them all night, or they can't go to prom because there's not enough patrol out there to make sure that our kids are safe. I have my granddaughter that's 4 that I need to watch out for now. Her dad's not here, and I need to be able to know that these streets are safe for her when I'm not here.
That was my next question.
Period.
Actually, was
Yeah, whether it's the police, whether it's black on black crime, whatever other crime it could be, you know, which it has to stop. It has to stop. There's no other way to continue this life if we're going to keep going down this road.
you talked about like the sort of the community wasn't as tight or something like that when I interviewed you. Like people used to kind of look out for each other's kids, and then there's also more to do in the community centers and so forth.
And affordable, you know. When my older kids were younger, you know, there were scholarships and stuff, so I can get them into basketball, football, and have them doing something positive. But now you don't have that. You know, they don't have the funding. They don't have the coaches, fund for another organization, or even like how we had Boys and Girls Club, where they would come and pick you up and, you know, take you on camping trips and different stuff like that. They don't have that now.
This is actually kind of a bigger issue that I see going on. It's not just having to do with security and you know, just with the black community. It's actually something I'm seeing across the country, having to do with kind of government services in general. And when I did the documentary about the 2018 homeless camp, it took them a long time to build a pretty basic shelter, right?
But they're building all these condominiums that's $3,000 a month.
Well,
who can afford that?
That's kind of my point. Like, it's getting harder and harder, I think, for governments to do their job, right? I mean, in sort of to defend them, it is harder because I think the world's getting more fluid and fast moving, and so it seems harder to make dollars stretch while governments continue to kind of bog down and they're kind of slow and rigid, and so I think it's going to come down to communities more, which frankly is the direction the city council's talking about wanting to take policing anyway.
Like the police was across the street when my son got killed. And they had, before he got shot, it was already a shooting out there.
Oh.
Before.
Okay,
So
well, I didn't know that either.
They never came across the street to investigate or anything. And then the next round that's when my son got killed. My family left, and then they came back, and the police still hadn't made it there before they did. So if Mad Dads was there or another organization was there, then, you know, people respect older people. You know what I'm saying? They, like VJ was saying, like, he can go tell you, pull your pants up, you know. I still tell them now to this day, pull your pants up. I get in their face like, you know, you're going to respect me, and I'm an adult. If I'm standing in presence of you, you will respect me while I'm here. When I'm gone, you're going to do what you're going to do. But while I'm here, you will respect me as an adult, period. Your parents, if they instilled into you how to react in front of adults and this and that, I wouldn't have never had to say anything to you.
Yeah, right.
But can I interject here? Because that's what I get in arguments oftentimes on Facebook. And people say, but it starts at home. It starts at home. But if home has been messed up for generations, it then comes back to us, like you're doing. Our village saying, you have to stop. We care about you. We love you. We don't want to see you dead. We don't want to see you in jail. We don't want to think that we're going to walk down the street or drive down the street and we may be your next possible victim because you're not hitting your intended target. But you shouldn't even have an intended target. You have to stop the violence. The violence has got to stop, period. We got to figure out, how are they getting all these guns in our community where they're able to cause all this trauma? You're traumatizing the whole community. It's not that you're traumatizing one person or this family. You are absolutely traumatizing the whole community. And as VJ said, yes, I hurt every day. I especially hurt when I hear of an innocent person, when I hear somebody in a car being killed. That all affects me because it takes me back to what happened to me.
Yeah. I really love your perspectives as like bigger picture things too, like going in there and.
It has to be. We lost so much of the community, like you mentioned. We had the Way, we had the Boys and Girls Club. We had so many things for these kids to do. They don't have that. They don't have just the general things we used to have in school. Home ec. Teach you a way of life and teach you what life. You're not getting that at home. You're not getting that in school. So they look for the quickest way to make some money. And so most times that quick way is going to end up in their death or the death of somebody else. And there has to be a solution that can change this.
And then they have to look at the broader picture as well. When you kill somebody, 9 times out of 10, either you're going to go to jail or you're going to be dead. Who's going to be there to support your child and make sure your child don't get hurt? You know, if you're gone away, you have to look at the bigger picture of you need to be present and there for your child life, for no harm comes to them.
Yeah.
You know, they retaliate. They don't mind hurting your family members if they can't get to you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to think about the bigger picture. You're mad at this moment, and when it's done and over, you're trying to get clout. What kind of clout are you getting?
Yeah, right.
That's not respect.
Yeah.
That shows that you're a coward. That shows you're a punk because you couldn't walk away from the situation. It does not take for you to take someone else's life to make you a man, make you a female, you know, make you a grown woman to feel that. You need to get into education. You want to travel the world. You want to see the world. You want to be able to, you know, take your family on vacations. You want to be able to go to museums and just, you know, live what all this world has to offer for you. Just what you see right now is not your future. You guys, there is so much more out there if you take advantage of it. It might take a long time. You might get a lot of doors slammed in your face, but if you keep pursuing it, it can happen for you. There's so many people that lived it from the projects to, you know, low income housing that is basketball players, football players, actors. You can do it. You just have to put your mind to doing something positive. If your friends is into negative things, you have to find a way. You have to pray for not only yourself, for your neighborhood, your neighbors, your communities. You have to love everyone like God wants us to love everyone. Color doesn't matter. I didn't pick to be black. You didn't pick to be white. He didn't pick to be black. Neither did she. You know, so that should not even be a factor in anything that we choose to do. As far as treating each other with love and respect and looking out for each other. You know, I want to be able to go to some stuff in my community. I don't want to have to go all the way out to Elk River. They don't realize when you put so much of this crime and destructive in your community, nobody can open up anything because their insurance is so high that they can't afford to service you, the community. You know, they can't have a laundromat here if you're going to be tearing it up or you're going to be shooting out in front of it. Their insurance, just to have it open, is going to cost more than what they're going to be bringing in. So why should they open up stuff in your community?
Right.
Why don't you want things in your community for your family, for the convenience and everything? You have to look at the bigger picture of what you're doing. It's not just hurting that person, you're hurting a whole community. And you don't even understand what angles or what, you know, avenues or what you didn't stop from the next person and stuff. So we have to look at the bigger picture. It's not just about the beef that you having, because the beef y'all having ain't worth killing nobody.
I really hope the right people are listening to this.
Well, and then they should always ask themselves, when you put that gun in your hand, you are taking 2 lives. You're taking that life that you shoot at, and you're taking your own. And you got to think about it. Is your life worth going to jail, taken away from your family, taken away from whoever loves you? Because somebody loves you. Somebody loves you.
I know you do a lot of work with your nonprofit. Give me the name of it again.
Be the Voice.
Be the Voice. Okay. And
it's just that. We have to continue to be the voice for those that no longer have a voice anymore. And whether that is advocating for the family when it comes to working with investigators, being there for the family as a support, whether that is, you know, just, I need somebody to talk to because right now it's a hard day. I'm having a hard time. I just need somebody that understands what I've been through. And not all the time do individuals or can they afford to go see somebody that is medically, a medical person, or do they even want to? Because especially in the Black community, they don't think it's okay to go see a shrink or you know, a therapist or anything. Sometimes it just takes that person that is there that has experienced the same things that they have experienced to say, it's going to be okay, I'm here for you.
I think that's the more of it is when you can lean on someone that's been through it other than a psychologist that's just off of books. You know, like you haven't been through this, so you don't know the depth of how much it's tearing me up. You can imagine, but you really don't know.
And you know your book part of it.
And then you want to put you on pills, because that's what they did with me, pills, where to the point where I couldn't even take care of my son. He was 14, my youngest one at the time, which that didn't help at all.
Yeah,
You
It
know,
just put you in a daze.
I was a
state.
zombie.
Well, it sounds like you two have a lot actually
Yeah.
in common.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna call her because I want help from you.
So as I expressed, my 16-year-old daughter was in the car with my mom
Yeah.
at the time that this incident happened, and she, still to this day, suffers trauma she can't be where there's 4th of July fireworks because it takes her back to hearing those shots. But she is a junior in college now, becoming a psychologist because
Oh,
she
wow.
wants to come back and help individuals in their community that have
That's a
experienced
great way
the
to
same.
go into the next segment.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, so
Yes.
much.
Yeah,
Thanks so
Thanks
much.
for having us.